What's up, guys? It's MKW Phenom here, and this video is going to consist of my thoughts of what the Miami Dolphins draft big board probably looks like heading into the combine and then heading into the draft. I'm going to just select what I think are the top 5 players they should be looking at and that we need and that would fill needs and make us a better team. So we're picking 14th. So I'm not gonna say that Leonard Williams, the defensive lineman out of USC or anything like that, because he's gonna go top 5, or Randy Gregory, the defensive end out of Nebraska, because he's gonna go top 5. These are realistic guys that I think can be there at 14. Again, the combine changes a lot of things, and so does the whole interview process and the whole pro day process. But as of right now, these are the guys I think are the top 5 on the Miami Dolphins, big board. So here we go. Number 1, and this guy is somebody that is just a monster, and that is Danny Shelton, the nose tackle, defensive tackle out of Washington. He is a monster. He's a beast. He's a mauler. He's 6'1", 335 pounds. They say he needs to work on his one-on-one skill, for pass rushing. Yet he destroyed and completely dominated the Senior Bowl. They couldn't contain him one-on-one. Nobody, to save their lives, could contain that man. And during the season, he had 9 sacks, 87 tackles, 16.5 for loss. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just that screams powerhouse. That screams domination, and that screams a big future in the next level. They say he could be the next Lodi Nada. Now, I don't know if that's true or if that's even, if that should even be considered to be a fact, because Nada's one of the greatest defensive tackles of this generation. But if he ends up being that, that'll be great. But his high upside is just, it's ridiculous, So we'll see what happens. Danny Shelton, defensive tackle. Why do I say defensive tackle? Randy Starks might get cut. He's got a $7 million cap hit. We just can't give $7 million to a 32-year-old defensive tackle that just the production has not been there the last year. You could say the last 2 years. So I think he might get cut. Also, Jared Odrick is a free agent to be. So a lot of things could happen right next year in that DT spot. So it makes a lot of sense for the Miami Dolphins to have a guy of Danny Shelton's talent and upside, and possibly the need is going to be there when draft time comes along. So, I think Danny Shelton is probably the number 1 guy the Dolphins are targeting as of right now. That could change with the combine, with free agency, but as of right now, I'm guessing he's the top dog that they want. The second player, Kevin White, wide receiver out of West Virginia, 6'3", 210 pounds of pure playmaking ability. Now, this is a guy that had 109 catches for over 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns last year. That is pretty amazing if you ask me. He's got playmaking ability all over the field. Yards after the catch, deep play, deep ball, short intermediate passing plays. He does it all. They say he's in that Larry Fitzgerald type mold. Right now, I think as of now he could be there at 14. But really, once the draft process plays out, and I think if he has an amazing Julio Jones type combine, he's gonna probably be a top 7, top 8 pick. It really just depends on a few things. But as of right now, the odds of him being there at 14 are strong. And he'd fill a need, because even if we bring back Mike Wallace, we're going to cut Brandon Gibson. We're probably going to cut or ask to restructure the deal Brian Hartline. We're definitely going to, and we're not going to bring back any other receiver on that roster. So maybe Rashard Matthews, but he's had issues with coaches, and he's not even that big of a deal. He's like a 5th receiver. So the only guys that you can count on guaranteed being back there next year are Mike Wallace and the rookie sensation we've had out of LSU, Jarvis Landry. So Kevin White makes a lot of sense. He's a big receiver. He plucks the ball out of the air. He just mauls, and I mean mauls, cornerbacks. I mean, he's really got all tools to be a number 1 receiver in the next level from day 1. And hopefully he's there at 14. And I think if he's there at 14, the Dolphins take him without a doubt. They have to take him. I mean, we don't have that big presence that could take not only the Miami Dolphins to the next level, but Ryan Tannehill to the next level. And I think that's the most important thing. Making sure that our quarterback and our franchise are heading in the right direction. And I think Kevin White is a guy that's going to really make that process happen a lot faster. At number 3, another wide receiver. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. 2 wide receivers? Really? Well, the need is that big, and I think, and also the talent is there, and it actually matches what we're picking. So there's a chance we could get these guys. And number 3, Devontae Parker, out of Louisville University. He used to be Teddy Bridgewater's go-to guy, and they said when Teddy goes, his production's gonna go down. Well, guess what? He was hurt for about 7 games. In the 6 games he did play, he had over 850 yards. He had 5 touchdowns, and let me see right here, 43 catches. That all happened in 6 games. You know what he did to Florida State? The powerhouse Florida State, with the best quarterback in the country, in my opinion, and the best secondary in the country, in my opinion, with 3 defensive players that have first-round ability, and definitely 2 of those players are going to go in the first round at some point in there when they decide to enter the draft. And this year, Ronald Darby, I'm not sure if he declared, and also P.J. Williams, which is probably the best coverage corner in the country, one of the better coverage corners in the country. So it's going to be a top 2-round pick this year, which is one of the better corners in the country. I don't know how many times I said it. I'm sorry, my bad. But Devontae Parker destroyed FSU. He had 208 receiving yards on 8 catches. And I saw that tape, and I encourage you to see that tape. This man demolished that secondary, and I think he's got the biggest ceiling of any receiver coming out of this draft, to be honest with you. So I'm saying Kevin White. I think it's Devontae Parker. The man's got it all, and you know, if he's there, we got to pick him as well. He's just such a monster, and he do a lot of things that Kevin White would do for us. Now, I don't know if it'd be as good as Kevin White could be coming off right off the bat, but I definitely think he's going to be one of the better receivers in the league for a very long time, and he's definitely worth that pick, and he's a monster. Not only that, but he's polished in pretty much everything. He's got great route running, amazing hands, quick burst off the line, handles press coverage very, very well, man to man. You know, he takes advantage. You know, he's 6'3", so he's got everything you want in a number 1, and hopefully if he's there, you got to take him. Number 4, Trey Waynes, cornerback, Michigan State. This is somebody that I've been seeing getting mocked to the Dolphins with the 14th pick a lot lately, and I understand why. Cortland Finnegan's gonna get cut. He's not worth $7 million. He's not worth it at this point anymore. Unfortunately, his best days are way behind him, and we've got 2 rookie cornerbacks that we drafted a couple years ago that just haven't really lived up to the hype. Will Davis in the 3rd round and Jamar Taylor out of Boise State in the 2nd round. You've seen a lot of flashes of Jamar Taylor of what he could be. He could be a decent number 2, a very good slot. He just hasn't been able to put it together, and really hasn't been healthy at all his first 2 years. You know, he didn't play at all his first year, and his 2nd year he had a few flashes of what he could be, but he got hurt again. So you really, in my opinion, I see Jamar Taylor as a future, nickel for us. So we need somebody across from Brent Grimes, and also somebody that's going to replace Brent Grimes, because Brent Grimes is 32, and Trey Waynes is 6'1". They say he's the safest cornerback prospect in this draft. He's a bump and run corner. He handles press coverage very, very well. They say he's the best press cover corner coming on in the draft. His floor is very, very high, and he's basically a safe prospect. He's basically, the Mike Pouncey, when he was coming out as a center, they said that he was a safe prospect. Well, you know what, or a guard or whatever. I think the case is pretty much the same with Trey Waynes. His tape reminds me a little bit of Drake Kirkpatrick in the sense that he handles his man very well. You don't see him giving up plays very often, big plays or just head scratching plays. He's a lengthy corner. He's probably gonna get flagged a lot because of his length and because he uses a lot of contact when he covers. But again, for somebody that talented, and he's there and he fills what I think is a pretty good need. And all the other options you want are gone. I think Trey Waynes is the obvious pick there. Marcus Peters has the most talent and upside coming out of this draft, but his off-the-field issues are ridiculous. So Trey Waynes, if there's going to be a corner taken in the 1st round, the first corner I think is going to be taken is Trey Waynes. And if that corner goes to the Miami Dolphins, I'm all for it. All right. Oh, his quick stats for you. I forgot to tell you. Sorry about that. 6'1". Well, one of these are his measurables. 6'1", 182. He had 50 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 10 passes defensed. So production is not an issue with Trey Waynes out of Michigan State. And the fifth and final guy that I think the Dolphins should be targeting is probably La'el Collins, the guard out of LSU. I say that with a sigh because I really don't want another offensive lineman in the first round. He's 6'3", 321 pounds. He's reliable in pass pro and run pro. But the technique isn't there yet. They're saying, he needs to work on it. And, I think if we end up drafting him, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable trading back a little bit, to the 20s and picking him up and then getting an extra third or maybe second along the way. Again, why am I going for O-line right now? Because outside of Mike Pouncey, Brandon Albert, and Jawan James, which is the rookie that we picked last year in the first round and had a pretty nice rookie year, to be honest with you. Other than those 3 guys on the O-line, everything else is shit. The interior offensive line needs to get fixed, and if it doesn't get having by free agency, you have to look towards the draft. I'm not a big fan of Billy Turner yet. I'm not a big fan of Shelly Smith. I'm not a big fan of Darren College. If he's there, take him and improve the O-line.